Welcome into an afternoon episode of the PHNX D-backs podcast right here on PHNX. My name is Derek Montilla. I'm thrilled to have the entire crew with us here in studio today. Of course, I am your mayor of the city of Phoenix. This man is in charge of utilities. He's Mr. Electric himself, Shawn. And this, of course, is the face that we don't get to see here in the studio often enough. It's the one and only Thunderstick, Jesse Fried.
The world travel.
I thought about, joining the show today from Chase Field.
Yeah.
Like seeing if they would let me in the building.
You can get into the
cold beers and cheeseburgers.
Yeah.
I can get you in there, Jesse.
That's fair.
Yeah,
I can get you into the building.
We could have gotten you a good shot of the field in the background and everything. Maybe even
What
a
am I
better
doing
shot than you
here?
get in
I
the press box.
absolutely should be joining the show from Chase Field once again.
I don't feel like
right?
you even like coming in here and hanging out with us anymore.
No, I like to keep a safe distance.
That's true. That's why
when
Shawn,
he's here, we can't talk bad about him.
No, that's correct.
Like
we also can't do all the other stuff that we do when he's not here.
Well, we can. He's just
very judgy.
Yeah,
just so judgy. And I'm judging right now because I have to judge the play of Corbin Carroll as of late. And I have to ask you guys, is Corbin Carroll okay? Jesse, is Corbin Carroll okay?
Why do you think Corbin Carroll's not okay?
Why would I think he's not okay? Well, in the last month,
statistically,
July 2nd through August 9th, Corbin Carroll is hitting 229, 320, 395 with a 715 OPS. With 4 homers, 2 triples, 2 doubles.
Yeah, it's not good, right? It's not the Corbin Carroll that we saw earlier in the season, but this is kind of what happens to rookies, right?
Correct.
Like you come in and some rookies have a lot of success right off the bat. Corbin Carroll is certainly one of them, but it doesn't always last. Like the league kind of figures some things out and makes some adjustments, and rookies have to adapt and find ways to adjust back. And I think Corbin has done that in some ways, and he probably still has some more work to do on that front. So yeah, he's fine, Derek. He's a very good baseball player who is very likely going to figure things out again at some point. He's just in a bit of a funk right now. Any
concerns that he is injured at all or feeling still the effects maybe of what he went through with that shoulder injury?
Yeah, the Diamondbacks wouldn't be playing Corbin Carroll if there was some kind of injury here. I think we can be pretty confident. There's just no reason for them to do that, frankly. Is it possible that it is kind of lingering a little bit? That wouldn't totally shock me. But I don't think he's making any kind of big swing adjustments or anything like we talked about last night. It honestly looks pretty much the same as it did before. So, as far as I'm aware, there's really no connection between his struggles and the shoulder issue. I don't really see a clear connection there.
Well, it's like we talked about the two-handed swing and things like that. But like if you do go back earlier in the season, he was doing it at times. There's kind of been a thing where like at times when a pitch kind of is a little bit out of the zone or maybe tailing away from him, he kind of uses that one-handed extension to just get that little bit extra distance to get the barrel on the ball, right? So, again, like you said, Jesse, we're still seeing that. It's not like we're not seeing that, but there's a lot of concern, obviously, because Corbin Carroll was a big reason why this team was off to the start that they were, but not the sole reason, right? A lot of guys have regressed over these last 30-plus days, and that's the reason why the Diamondbacks offensively right now seem to just that seems to be their biggest problem. We blame it on the bullpen all the time, and the bullpen still deserves their fair share of the blame. But lately, pitching doesn't seem to be the problem for this team as much as the offensive woes, like what we're seeing kind of Corbin go through and the rest of these guys go through. Christian Walker, another guy that seems to be struggling as of late.
It would be much more concerning to me if it wasn't also like everybody. Right? Like,
right.
If it was just him slumping, it would be like, okay, there's something wrong with him. But it again, as something I talked about a lot last night and with Tori, like it just feels like everybody sucks. So like, it's hard to make it seem like if this is necessarily a Corbin thing. And like, do you have the stats? Those stats again?
For Corbin?
Yeah,
I do.
Like they are okay, right?
If your slump is like a 715 OPS or whatever it was, that's like, pretty good. Like you're still providing a lot of value, especially with the way that Corbin runs the bases.
Yeah, and like Jesse said, like this happens to all of the rookies, and it happened to Corbin last. Like James Outman was Rookie of the Year at the beginning of the season
for a full month.
Where has he been?
Striking out.
He's actually playing pretty well.
James hitting like 340 since the All-Star break.
Since the All-Star break, he actually has like the highest on-base percentage, I think, of any player.
But
right?
he went through that too, like where he was the Rookie of the Year, and then he fell off a little bit. Ellie, same thing. Matt McClain's batting .216 over his last 7 games. Like It happens to it happens to every baseball player. Like baseball's a very hard sport. People go through slumps, and then, like Jesse said, if your slump looks like Corbin's slump, it's probably
not the worst
means that you're
world.
a pretty good baseball player.
Yeah.
But something that did also upset me very much when it comes to Corbin Carroll was him appearing on Mookie Betts' podcast. As much as it pains me to say this, On Base with Mookie Betts is quite possibly the best baseball podcast I've ever
Not
seen.
named PHNX Diamondbacks.
Yeah, we'll go with that. Yeah, sure. I wish I was the host that Mookie Betts is, because this man, I will never be as cool as Mookie Betts. That's easily something we can all agree on.
We knew that, Derek.
What's that?
So we knew that.
Shut up, Jacob.
No one that we know is ever going to be as cool as Mookie Betts.
No one that we know is going to be as cool as Mookie Betts. But recently, his podcast doesn't have very many episodes, 10 episodes deep, and already 20% of his podcast have featured Arizona Diamondbacks players. Because Corbin Carroll was on his last episode, and on his most recent episode, that was probably a wrong way to phrase that, but Zac Gallen was his latest guest on his podcast, and they had quite the conversation, including Mookie Betts not really knowing that the city of Phoenix remains open as a city during the summer because of the heat. A lot of questions there about going outside and just how
I mean, Mookie literally just played 2 baseball games here in Arizona in front of like 30,000 fans.
Yeah,
like,
where does he think? Where does he think these people like shop for groceries? How exactly does that work? I don't know exactly how Mookie's brain was thinking.
Shawn and I were talking about this. There are some states that when you don't live there and you don't visit there and you don't have like family or friends there, you don't even think about. Because they just exist, and it's like I don't know.
One of those things,
I don't know why New Mexico exists.
Right?
Exactly. I don't know what's going on.
You don't have
there.
an idea of New Mexico until someone asks you, "What do you think about New Mexico?" I'm glad Gerald's not here yet.
And then
it's just like, what do I think of New Mexico? And then you think of like, it seems like a scene out of Courage the Cowardly Dog, where it's just like infinite darkness and
with one
emptiness. That's what New Mexico feels like.
Just Thor in a pickup truck drinking with
and
Molchanor.
To be fair, there's probably, for somebody that's lived in basically Nashville, Tennessee, Boston, and Los Angeles, they probably aren't thinking about Arizona all that. Mookie probably doesn't have much of a track record.
He goes from his hotel room to the lobby to the car picking him up, which is heavily air conditioned, to the players' entrance at Chase Field, to the dugout, right? Like, so, or the clubhouse. But I love this interview, and I loved both of these interviews, both with Corbin Carroll and Zac Gallen. Mookie Betts, I mean this when I say this, is an incredible host, and this is a very, very good podcast. But one of the first things that they talked about was Mookie on Zac Gallen's homer.
Basically, Mookie Betts hit his first ever Dodgers home run against Zac Gallen.
Oh, okay.
And they did talk about that. You can see the clip here. It's pretty funny.
Thank you. I want to give you a shout out. Thank you for letting me hit my first Dodger homer off you. I'll never forget it. And the
back foot changeup.
The only reason why I remember the homer is because the pitch I hit, I had no business swinging at.
No business swinging at.
No business swinging at it. And I don't know how I hit it. When I hit it, I think I was running around the bases like, what just happened?
I remember throwing. I was like, man, that's a pretty good pitch. And you hit the homer, and I said, he's that good, I guess.
That was luck.
No, seriously, I'm like,
luck.
I must have watched that clip. They're in the dugout that outing. After, like, there was a lot of guys watching. Like, I need to see that again. How do you do that? I'm like, you just like pulled your hands in. I don't know, like.
Mookie, I like Mookie thanking him for that.
Yeah.
That was a great way to start that conversation.
Mookie is so good, dude.
Yeah, he really is.
Like, he was the best player in baseball at a point. I think, like, at the end of his Red Sox tenure, he was like the best player in baseball.
Still remains up there.
Yeah, he's still pretty damn good at it.
Yeah.
And he's also cool as shit.
He really is. But they also
can bowl.
What's that?
He can bowl.
He can bowl.
How many perfect games has he bowled? He's bowled like 4 or 5
bowler.
perfect games.
Holy shit.
Yeah. No, he's like
How is a guy so
he's one
talented
of those
at so many
people that's
things?
good at everything.
During
Yeah,
spring
I hate
training,
that.
he hosted a bowling
Yeah.
event in Scottsdale with all the MLB guys came and bowled, and it was a whole thing.
And how does he not know about the weather and the city staying open then? I still need to know that. I'm also very frustrated because if he's this good as a host, this good as a bowler, and
Exactly.
this good
He's
as a
one of those
Major
people.
League Baseball player,
Good at everything.
I bet he cooks really well
And
too.
also, he's like one
bet he
of
is a
the.
private
I
chef.
think he's probably one of the best second basemen in baseball, and he doesn't play second base.
yeah. Yeah. Well, we
Like,
saw him play
you
it
can
against the
you can
Diamondbacks.
put him anywhere basically. I mean, the Dodgers I think have used him at shortstop this year
Yeah.
too, and you know he made a pretty spectacular play there as well. So yeah, Mookie is
many stars do
just
that?
like he's like a freak athlete, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's the baseball player who probably could play just about any other sport,
Yeah.
right?
And he is also like awesome.
Yeah,
He's like, by all accounts, like a really good dude, and he's really likable and he's cool.
Yeah, why is he the coolest man in baseball? Like, I'm jealous of these interviews. Jesse and I talked about this yesterday, that like not a lot of baseball players can really pull off interviewing other baseball players. This is something you see quite common in
Yeah.
NBA,
Yeah.
and it's very fun in the NBA. So it's like one of those things you do want to see bleed over to other sports. You want to see these kind of interactions.
Baseball needs more people like this.
As
It
friendly
really
as we
does.
could get with these guys, we could never get the kind of interview with a player
Yeah.
because they're going to be too guarded versus
yeah.
the versus how they can
And-
be themselves with someone like Mookie.
And we like when we watched the Corbin clip the other day, like it goes to show like there's so much there is a lot of personality in baseball. It just needs like the outlet for it to be expressed. Because like we
Yeah.
watched that Corbin thing and we're like, I didn't know Corbin had that in him.
Yeah.
Like I didn't realize he was the kind of
Yeah.
guy that would fight
Right.
for his teammates. Like
Right.
I didn't know he was that kind of person. So like and just like these
It made sense
Baseball needs
because
more.
he's a baseball savant, so he knows the
Yeah.
exact right thing to do in any baseball scenario,
Yeah.
including when to throw a punch.
yeah,
right?
yeah.
But they also talked to Zach about possibly staying here in Arizona and what that would mean to him long term, and this was his answer.
What would it mean to you if you were to stay with Arizona, knowing that this is kind of where you got your first real opportunity?
Yeah, I'm always gonna have like just crazy love for Arizona, just because you know they saw something in me that maybe not a lot of their teams did, and I think they treated me like a veteran with not much service. That like they put a lot of trust in me, so like I have just a lot of respect for them in that sense. And yeah, I mean, just I said it this past off season. It's like this town in terms of sports, like they deserve a winner. Like, and you know, whether it's us, it's the Suns, like the Cardinals, like it just hasn't like worked out in the last, you know, how many ever years. So like, but the fans are here. Like
They're definitely here.
they show love. So it's like, I want to, you know, be a part of, you know, that the pride people have in the city for, you know, baseball team.
I love his answer and I also hate his answer.
Oh, it's
Jesse?
gonna hurt.
I mean, I think that was all positive, right?
It
Like,
was,
what are
which is
you-
why it's gonna hurt so bad.
See, this is that's a logical person. These
Listen.
are Arizona sports fans right here. This is what happened. You interpret their words differently. It almost already to me sounds like a goodbye.
Yeah, but
And
I mean,
it doesn't.
well-
Like you said, it's all positive,
Well,
nice
yeah.
things about how much you would like to stay here and become part of the culture. But it's almost like that's not going to happen kind of thing. It would be nice if it happened, but that's not going
If
to happen.
I'm being real though, like the answer was really encouraging because like it's super easy to get a question like that and just like say something.
Yeah.
But like it was a very specific
Yeah.
answer about like how they treated him when he first became a part of the organization and what that meant to him and how he feels about the city. Like he's clearly paid attention and bought into being a part of the Phoenix sports scene.
More than
which
that,
is like
I think
very good.
He understands that like there's something that needs building here.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's something that is
Yeah.
very true when it comes to the Diamondbacks fan base and in general the sports here. Like the Suns have a very solid foundation because of how long they've been
Yeah.
around. We have generations and generations now of Suns fans here in the Valley, but you
Right.
can't say the same really about Cardinals,
Yeah.
Coyotes, or Diamondbacks. But the
Yeah.
Diamondbacks are still the baby on the block
Yeah.
by comparison to the other four.
Conspiracy theory.
Here,
Zac
let's hear it.
Gallen has not pitched well in the second half of the season so that the team can give him a hometown discount. He's going to stay for cheaper than we imagine.
I mean, he could just take the hometown discount
Oh,
and pitch well.
gosh.
Jacob's doing drugs over there at the. I would say he's drunk, but I mean, I don't even think that
Yeah,
explains
you
it.
could just take less and pitch well if that's what he wanted to do.
That's kind of how that works.
Yeah, right? Like,
you
Scott
don't have
Boras
to pitch
isn't his
worse in order
boss,
to take
bro.
a hometown
Right.
discount. Right?
But what was I gonna say? Like, I also think it's good that he understands, like he talked about the fans showing up, like he understands that like there's a lot of times where that stadium, especially before this year, has not had anybody in it.
Yes.
And then he understands that like if you give this fan base a winner, like they will show up.
Yeah.
That's just how this works. Like
Right.
Yeah.
it is the kind of fan base that you need, like you kind of have to earn their attendance and their respect, for better or worse.
Tori-
And he understands it, and I think appreciates it, which is
Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good.
Tori brought that up earlier, and it was when he was talking about like seeing things change against this very Dodgers team early on in the season. You know, he was like he commented about how he liked what he was seeing from the fans, and he could see things were changing at Chase Field, especially considering he's been there over the years where that became essentially a giant Dodger fan takeover, right? So
I mean,
like,
the last couple nights,
the last couple of nights,
been a whole lot of red in the stands.
that's
Derek.
correct, Jesse. And why? Because they have not been good, and people have lost faith
And
in
also,
this team.
the Dodgers come or here less.
That
Like, I
is-
feel like
that's true.
there's a
They're more
lot
of an
of
attraction,
there are
for
a
sure.
lot of Dodgers fans that live here.
There,
And
there was a big difference
Yeah.
between game 1 and game 2, too.
That is true.
Game
Yeah.
1 was packed with Dodgers fans. Game 2 still had a lot, but I don't know if it had as many people just in general.
Yeah,
at
but
it,
you
know.
get
It was,
far less of an opportunity.
I
to
think
see
it was
Dodgers
maybe 2,000 less last
Oh,
night
that's
than the night before.
Ah,
It was
It looked
Yeah.
a lot worse at the beginning because it's
They
Dodgers.
did
really
what Dodgers
filled up.
fans do,
yeah,
and they showed
Dodgers
up late.
fans always show up half
It's
an
part
hour
of their
late. There you
DNA.
go.
We were talking about that.
Yeah.
Most
It's
of them
crazy. It
don't. They're
travels
not
with
even
them.
from LA. They live here, but they still have the same behavior
Dodgers
and
mentality,
same.
They're like, wow, what's the point of going to the first? Nothing good happens in the first couple of innings.
We'll just watch
Our
them
pitcher's
win
gonna
later.
not do, or it's just gonna shut out the other people for the first few innings. Let's get there for the end where the action is.
I'm jealous of Mookie and the Dodgers fan. I hate all of this right now. But one thing I could watch is a show of Zac Gallen and Mookie Betts playing the Immaculate Grid together. Just the two of them with no computer help, and Zac Gallen having to explain things like the rarity score to Mookie Betts, because this is incredible. Here was their discussion about that.
That works. See, I like that 1%. I guess so I've looked at this now, and people are like,
that means like
that's good. It's super rare. Like not a lot of
nobody's
people
got
are
it.
getting that.
Oh wow. Okay.
So some people, from what it sounds like, I've seen like the Barstow guys or whoever, like the John Boy guys, they try to get the lowest percentage, like added up. You know what I mean? So like, see how it like says like 1%. There at the end you'll get this thing. It's like a rarity score, and that'll say like how rare your grid was. Like I'm thinking of names that people aren't gonna think of, as opposed to going like, you know, somebody super famous. Like it's trying to get like a unique grid in there.
Hey, I don't know what you talking
I'm
about.
just telling.
I don't know what you're talking about. So we just go keep on going because I'm confused.
I love that Mookie is as lost about the Immaculate Grid as he is about the Arizona weather.
It's another thing that he's good at, though, is how are you so simultaneously being that lame and that cool at the same time?
You're right.
Like, he's
Like,
the only person that
I
pulls
don't
that off
get
that
it.
well.
It's a very simple concept, Mookie. It's not that hard to
It's
get.
not hard at all. Like, it's
Like,
very straightforward.
Based on the more minuscule, like the less people that answered this,
Yeah.
the better the rarity
And I
score,
feel
right?
like he was doing a good job explaining it.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty,
Yeah,
it's
what
pretty straightforward.
Zach
What could be-
explained? I don't know how to explain the
Yeah,
rarity
right.
score any
Any better than
simpler,
he did.
any
Right.
better than Zach did. It is funny watching them do the Immaculate Grid. If you go and actually check out the full show, they try to do the entire Immaculate Grid together. Zac Gallen is heavily carrying the thing the entire time because apparently Mookie Betts is one of the best players in baseball and has never heard of
That's
a lot
so
of
crazy.
very famous baseball
Especially
players.
when you play with you. He's been in the league for a while. Like
You
he's
know what
played
the-
with guys
Yeah.
who have
You
been
know
on
what the
both
problem I
teams.
have
He
with this?
openly admitted, though, that he doesn't know anyone who plays for the Minnesota Twins. There's an entire row of Minnesota Twins, and I'm pretty sure Mookie just straight up said,
Joe Mauer?
I don't know.
Like, he
they
didn't
did
play-
mention Joe Mauer
like,
at
he
one
didn't play
point,
in
but
the
I think Zach mentioned Joe
Yeah.
Mauer. I don't.
That's-
Who knows if
that
Mookie
is
even is aware
crazy.
that Joe Mauer exists?
Here-
I'm not sure.
I have this theory about that because I do now see, especially that my daughter is getting older and has like friends that are completely like locked into sports at 11, 12 years old, right? Like they don't have time. These kids don't have time to watch the sport that they play.
Yeah.
They're too busy going to 16 practices a day
Yeah.
and doing all of this other shit, trying to make it themselves to the major leagues one day. And that involves a tremendous amount of work. So it really doesn't surprise me that elite players that Mookie's probably been like this his whole life. He's probably been one of the best players in baseball his entire career ever since he was little, and you don't have time for that other shit. You actually have to worry about your own career, not enjoying baseball cards and stuff like the rest of us got to do. But I do say that Mookie once again frustrates me with how good he is at everything, even like you said, being nerdy. I think that clip also very much showed why Zac Gallen enjoys Jesse Friedman so much. You guys really get a chance to nerd out sometimes when you get together and talking about stats and stuff, don't you?
Yeah, Zac. He's just really smart. He's really, I don't know if I would describe Zac as being like a nerd necessarily. Like, he's not like me in that sense. Like, I'm just a straight up nerd, right? Zac is like cool, but also knowledgeable, right? It's what I aspire to be. Sure, honestly. No, I'm working on it.
You're on the road.
I'm on the road. There. Yeah, I'm getting there. I'm getting there. But yeah, he really is one of not just like immaculate grid, like general baseball knowledge. He really spends so much time trying to get to just trying to understand his craft better. And, whatever he can do to be a better pitcher. I don't know if you're going to find anyone around baseball who's more cerebral and, just more of a thinker and tinkerer than Zac Gallen is. I mean, that is his identity out there on the mound, and it's a big reason why he's as successful as he is.
Elizabeth says, Zac and Jesse doing an immaculate grid when? We need that immediately. Super chat from is it Ryuji Sakamoto? I'll try my best there. D-backs fan from North Carolina here. Is it wrong if I want the team to lose every game just so we can have a major leadership shakeup? Yes, that's wrong.
Yeah, that's pretty.
That's factually, that's absolutely wrong. That is not the direction we want things to go. I understand. A lot of people are frustrated with a lot of different things. They're frustrated with the front office. They're frustrated with Torrey's managing. Mostly, we're just all frustrated with the losing because it doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. And is sometimes in order to make sense of things, you feel like you have to pin blame on a particular, area, person, coaching staff, front office, that kind of thing. We just have to actually start to realistically wonder if the Diamondbacks can turn things around with the difficult schedule that they have ahead. I am not saying can they do it, because of course they can. Any baseball team can get hot at any time. And we obviously saw that this team had no problem winning games early on the season, even when they were facing difficult opponents like the Dodgers and the Padres. April was a month where we thought things were going to be so bad for this team that I put my hair and chemical burns on my scalp on the line in order to jokingly say I would dye my hair purple if they had a winning record. When I said that, I would not have said that if I thought there was an actual chance I had to dye my hair purple. Let's be honest, right? So the Diamondbacks were much better in April when they had a tough schedule than we expected them to be. They basically took care of business in May, part of June, and then things really kind of obviously fell off. We all know the story from there, but there does not look like there's much shade from the sun, if you will, on the rest of their schedule between now and the end of the season. So that's the main reason why I think I have to start wondering if this is actually a possibility that this team could turn things around with the level of difficulty that they have lying ahead of them.
They have a lot. I mean, they really do control their destiny. I think we talked about this a little bit yesterday. Like they have 7 games against the Padres, right, over the next week and a half. We talked about that. They have a 4-game series against the Cincinnati Reds in a couple of weeks. That's a home series. They play the Chicago Cubs 7 times in the month of September. All of their games against the Cubs are in September. So, yeah, I mean, they're going head to head with a lot of the teams that they are competing against in this wild card race. And something I try to remind people of, like at the beginning of a season and throughout a season, there are going to be so many moments within a baseball season where you think your team, might win the World Series, and when you think your team is like the worst team in baseball or has no business being a playoff team, right? And I think that's especially true for Diamondbacks fans because over the last few years, this team has been kind of a middling team where there are the highs and the lows. There are the moments when they're in first place for a while and then they fall out, right? And the moment that you think the team is safely a contender, it seems like sooner or later reality is going to strike and there are going to be some darker times that cause you to doubt yourself. And beyond that, on the flip side, there's also going to be moments when you think the sky is falling and the season is over and everything's done. And reality probably strikes there too. And that's just kind of my hunch for how the rest of this season is going to go. The Diamondbacks are not the team that we saw in April and May. I think it's abundantly clear that they were overperforming, but they're also not the team that we've seen the last month. That is clearly a shell of what this true Diamondbacks, the true talent level of this Diamondbacks roster. And I mean, you never know what's going to happen. Anything's possible in this sport, but I have a feeling this team's going to stick around for a while because I think they're good enough to do so.
A lot of people laughed at a Christian Walker clip we posted on our Twitter account, and I'm still calling it Twitter, and I will call it Twitter until I die or that website dies.
I don't know if I've ever heard anyone call it X.
Last
honestly.
night,
The Arizona Diamondbacks have to call it X.
They were really
Really?
said
On their-
follow us at
It says
Yeah.
follow us
D-backs.
on
I guess
on
any
X
like
and
any
Instagram.
super official.
yeah, right. And I was
you
like, that's
kinda
what I said.
have
I was like,
to.
it sucks, but you can't. They don't really have a choice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
it
pointed
would
that
be-
out to
really
me.
gonna bother you guys?
Because then it's a baseball team making a statement at that point.
Is it gonna bother us?
Exactly.
Yeah, so you've been to the games. You see when they put up like the tag board where it's like, post at us on
Yeah.
X or whatever. So the next time you go, look at it and look at the X logo and tell me it doesn't look like a computer that makes you want to just click out of the photo.
Yes.
no,
By
it's
hitting
terrible.
X.
It's
Yes,
terrible.
that's exactly what it looks like. Not to mention it's just a dumb name and a dumb website and a dumb
I mean,
rebranding
yeah,
and a
yeah.
fucking waste of money. And you just threw the Bluebird and the Twitter brand that was worth millions, maybe billions in the trash. Don't even get me started on that. I'm sick of it.
I
But
missed the little bluebird.
I do too. And I hated the day that my app changed it. Like it's still
Yeah.
confused because when I have it in my little like folder, it still calls it Twitter. But when I expand that folder, it calls it X. Fucking hate it. But anyway, I don't know if the Diamondbacks can turn things around or will turn things around. But going back to the Christian Walker video, I was saying that we got a lot of funny comments on. He talked about this roster now being better than the roster they started the year with. The results be damned. I don't think he's wrong. I do think that they address some of the issues. I think that they have found some pieces. I think we had a lot of questions about things. It's not to say that everything's good for this team. It's definitely not. But I do agree. And I definitely have to remind everybody that when you say you want to go back to those days, remember, that involves Madison Bumgarner also being part of the starting rotation. So
That
be
feels
careful.
like so long
Be careful
ago.
what you wish for. Like two
I
seasons ago.
can't
Not even this
picture
season.
it.
Not even
I
last
can't
season.
even think of
like
a start
two
that he made
seasons
this
ago.
year. Like, I can't even think about Madison Bumgarner starting a game this year.
Yeah.
It's hard to.
Yeah, it happened lots of times, in fact. But we've moved on, and hopefully this team continue to get better. Will continue to get better. And honestly, like I hate to say this, but I feel like this season is kind of like the Bubble Suns, where they didn't quite get there, but you saw the potential. Unfortunately, kind of flipped around.
Yeah,
Where
very
the good,
much flipped
the,
around.
The good
from
part was at
Bubble
the beginning
Suns.
instead of at the
Yeah,
end of
yeah.
the season, right? But like it really does feel like this season is that season where yes, they got close. Yes, you can see the promise of this team, and maybe with a couple of off-season moves, they really can build what they have as a foundation into an actual contender next year. I don't feel like it's that far off, but one great way for me to put my money where my mouth is like with a future bet on BetMGM. And that's something you could do in all sorts of different ways, including still getting in on Corbin Carroll for Rookie of the Year, even though who knows how those odds are going to change here soon. And also maybe a little Zac Gallen action for Cy Young. Who knows? But one thing you can get in for absolutely free is the Swing for the Fences promotion. All you have to do is log into the BetMGM Sportsbook app on iOS or Android and play the free-to-play game between now and September 7th. You are a batter. You pick an area of the strike zone to swing at, and depending on the result, you'll either single, double, triple, home run, walker, or pop out, and you will receive the prize associated with that type of hit. You can play once a day, and the prizing must be used on Major League Baseball bets and does expire in 24 hours. So make sure you sign up right now for the BetMGM app if you haven't done so yet. Use our bonus code PHNX. There's a few different offers depending on where you live, but for our Arizona audience, if you place your first bet offer, and you will receive up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if it loses with BetMGM. Again, make sure you use bonus code PHNX Check out the show notes for full details, and now listen to Shane talk about the disclaimer.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Colorado, D.C., Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 Massachusetts. 21 plus to wager. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP Arizona, 1-800-522-4700 Nevada, 1-800-BETS-OFF Iowa, 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help Michigan, 1-800-981-0023 Puerto Rico in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. U.S. promotional offers not available in D.C., Kansas, Nevada, New York, or Ontario.
We lost Michael Rokicki in the chat because he says, no, this season is reminding me of the Cardinals were 7-0 going into the Green Bay game. How dare you? No, absolutely not, because we know what happened after that for multiple seasons. I don't like any of that.
Oh, one thing about that team, they still made the playoffs.
That's true. They got embarrassed once they got there, but they did make the playoffs.
They did make it.
He said it. Elise says, so what you're saying is we're going to make the World Series next year, go up 2-0, and then lose the next 4 to crush our dreams. That is exactly what I'm saying, Elise.
That
Thank
feels
you.
like a pretty positive outcome.
Yeah. I mean, what is wrong with that?
It is I mean,
we make the World Series in your fucking nightmare scenario, Elise. Is that not good enough for
That's
you?
one thing I have never had to deal with is I have never had a team lose a championship.
You are a Buffalo Bills fan.
No, like I've never experienced it. I've never lived it. Like they just don't get there or they win it. Like when I rooted for the Sox, whenever they got there, they won it. Or my team sucked so bad they never got there, and I never had to live through a team losing a championship.
Thank you for simultaneously making me laugh and also reminding me that I'm old. I appreciate that. We appreciate you guys for being in the PHNX Sports YouTube channel right now. If you're here in the chat, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Sign up for notifications. That way you don't miss when any of our wonderful shows go live. Leave us a thumbs up just to make us feel good about ourselves. If you are listening on the audio podcasting side, please subscribe to us there. Leave us a review. We always appreciate your feedback. And of course, we always appreciate you guys being diehards. If you haven't signed up for a diehard membership yet, go to gophnx.com, sign up today. You will get all sorts of wonderful benefits, including free merchandise from the phnxlocker.com, free benefits from our partners, and so much more. You also get Jesse's newsletter, Full Count, which he explores Paul Sewald potentially being the greatest closer in Diamondbacks history.
I didn't say that. I didn't say greatest closer in Diamondbacks history.
He said he's the best relief pitcher we've ever gotten, and all of our problems are solved.
Yes, that's exactly that's a good summary, Derek. I'm glad you read the story.
I can't because I don't have a diehard membership anymore. Mine expired. But see, I need to get a diehard membership ASAP. So make sure you do. So you're not like me.
Wait, your diehard membership expired? How exactly does this work, Derek?
I don't know. I mean, I think
Derek's
they're
not on top
telling
of
me
his
something.
shit. That's how it works.
Derek, have you been paying for a membership?
Are we not? Are we not supposed to? I feel like I'm a chump now, but anyway, I don't mind contributing because I get so much back from the diehard membership, so it's fine. I'm fine, you guys. It's basically free anyway with that $50 gift certificate from Mountain Mike's Pizza. But we thank you guys for being a diehard, and again, if you haven't done so already, sign up today to become part of our PHNX family. We have some power rankings to take a look at for Major League Baseball, and of course, we don't have too much changing, but let's take a look at where all the teams fall this time around. We still have the Atlanta Braves up at number 1. We have the Texas Rangers moving up to that second spot after the trades that improved that franchise that was already pretty damn good this year.
Yes.
And the Dodgers take a big leap up to number 3.
Yeah, the Dodgers, I think we can all agree at this point that the demise of the Los Angeles Dodgers was a little bit overstated coming into the 2023 season.
Well, they made trades, and then those guys came over, and they became super mutants. And
yeah, it is nice when you trade for 4 below replacement level players, and they all come over. Literally all of them.
Every single one.
Ahmed Rosario, Kike Hernandez are both knocking the cover off the ball. Lance Lynn has made 2 starts, and I think has given up 1 run total.
I think maybe 2 runs.
Maybe, I think one of them he gave up 2 runs. And then Joe Kelly, who the Diamondbacks saw yesterday, I don't believe has allowed a run and has struck out 7 in 3 2/3 innings or something. And of course, he had an ERA of 5 in Chicago. So
we showed the video where he couldn't even hit a target in his own backyard. He smashed his own window.
Yeah, you guys did show that.
Yeah, we did.
Right.
So things are quite different for Joe Kelly. That guy absolutely dominated the Diamondbacks yesterday.
It's just like the most predictable thing ever. And at least they don't even have like half the rotation.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And they get Walker Buehler back in September.
And is Dustin May supposed to come back this year? I don't remember what his injury. I know I know they're missing him, but
I know that Walker Buehler, it sounds like,
Yeah.
is going to return,
Mhm.
which was an unknown earlier in the season. It might be in like a multi-inning relief sort of a role. Not sure where things stand on Dustin.
Oh no,
though.
looks like he's out for a year.
Okay.
He had
Okay.
surgery on his flexor and UCL. So
Getting Walker Buehler
Yeah,
back at some
out for the
point,
year.
though. I mean, that's
yeah,
going to be a
that
pretty big addition for
sucks.
them.
and they also don't have Kershaw right now. Kershaw's also hurt right now.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's probably why they're doing better than they normally
Well,
are.
Kershaw's been good this
No,
year.
I know. He was going to potentially be the starter in the All-Star game without he was performing
Right.
before all of that happened. Let's take a look again at those power rankings. Rounding out the top 5, we have the Orioles at number 4, the Houston Astros at number 5. Then in the bottom half of the top 10, we have Tampa Bay Rays, Blue Jays, Phillies, and next in ninth, we have the Seattle Mariners making their debut on our power rankings, followed by the Giants there at 10th. The Giants have kind of experienced a little bit of that bad luck that a lot of the teams right now in the wild card hunt have experienced. Everybody's kind of bad right now. We also just, had the Cubs lose a couple of games, so they fell right off our power rankings as well. But Seattle Mariners, feels like things have gotten right for that team. We know that they had a lot of good things going for them, but we also know that like they had their own little stretch of offensive woes where it felt like every single guy on their starting lineup was striking out and leading the league in strikeouts. There was a lot of Mariners at the top of that list, but they feel like they got things together.
I believe.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So since the Arizona Diamondbacks made the trade with the Seattle Mariners, right? Number one, the Diamondbacks have lost every game. And number two, or I guess they won the game on the night of the trade. But,
Correct.
like none of the players had
like the
actually
31st.
reached their new teams
Right.
yet. So that one, I don't know how you count that. The Mariners have won 7 consecutive games.
Oh God, Shane's here.
And they are
Great.
now 10 games over 500. The Mariners, who were sellers at the trade deadline and sold to the Arizona
They sold their
Diamondbacks,
closer.
are now closer to the postseason than the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Like,
the
that
Mariners
is-
are 2 games out. The Diamondbacks are 2.5 games out in the wild
Worst
card.
case scenario. It sucks that they're going to force me to hate them. I have to hate the Mariners now
Why do you have to hate the Mariners?
because we can't have this.
We can't lose a
They
trade
can't-
like
they
this significantly.
They can't be sellers and make the playoffs while we miss the playoffs after trying to buy
Oh, man.
and buying their closer.
Yeah.
I mean,
we
it's
don't get
gotta
to
be.
use.
It's got to be a. I mean, I'm sure he probably doesn't actually feel this way if we were to ask him about it. But like, you kind of feel for Paul Sewald in a moment like
No,
this.
100%.
He's really getting the short
100%.
end of the stick in this
Yeah.
situation.
And I bet they could really use him potentially here. I don't know what their situation in their bullpen is like, but
For people wondering though about like, the Diamondbacks players going over there, Dominic Canzona is a 463 OPS since becoming a Mariner, and Josh Rojas has yet to reach base for them. He is 0 for 13. So they've had a lot of success, but
not because of the
Canzone
pieces
and
they got.
yeah, Canzone and Rojas haven't really picked things up as of yet.
Speaking of trade deadline targets and someone that the Diamondbacks were attached to, Michael Lorenzen had a no-hitter for the Philadelphia Phillies yesterday. Could have been a
first
D-back.
start at Citi Field, correct?
Well, it was gonna cost too much. So of course the Diamondbacks did not pick him up. We know he wouldn't have thrown a no-hitter for this team because that's the way things
I mean,
go.
the question you have to ask, Derek, is if Michael Lorenzen was an Arizona Diamondback and pitched for them yesterday, would the Diamondbacks have won the game? I don't know what the answer is because the Diamondbacks didn't score a run. And
Yeah, no, that would have been classic. He would have thrown 9 no-hit innings, but then they would have lost in extras.
Yes. Oh God, yes. That's exactly the way it would have happened. You're absolutely right.
Listen, I got
don't
real
wanna talk
annoyed
about
on Twitter though of everybody being, or not everybody, people being like, "Oh, could have been a Diamondback, could have like."
Honestly, pitching isn't the problem right now for this team.
And
so-
also no, like they weren't buying like that. That's
Do you
not.
want
was
him
not-
if it meant giving up Alec Thomas?
Not like. It's just
trading
Answer the
Alec
question.
Thomas for
Answer the
2
question.
months.
No.
No,
No.
that's what I thought.
No.
Yeah. Good way to put him in his place over there, Jacob.
That's what I'm saying. That's my point. Like, why would you like? We were never going after a guy like Lorenzen, or at least once they got the deadline, they were not going after a guy like Lorenzen. So like it.
I mean, they were
they
reportedly
were.
going after,
Yeah,
literally going after Lorenzen.
Yes,
but
I suppose
they
that's true.
They didn't pull the trigger for the kinds of reasons
I guess
you're talking
ultimately
about.
with what they did, like Lorenzen was not necessarily in line with the other moves, and like, who cares? Like, it doesn't have anything to do with us now.
At this point, it would have felt wasteful.
Yeah,
I think, to really push in the chips on a rental starter. That just wouldn't have fixed the problems the Diamondbacks are dealing with now. And
Phillies are in a much different.
And I'll be damned if Carson Kelly is calling a no-hitter. I know Herrera played last night, right? But still, like, I don't think either of these catchers are calling a no-hitter, respectfully.
You're broken, and I get it, and it's rightfully so. I get it. The Diamondbacks broke Shawn, and I mean, this man was excited to cover this team 2 months ago, and look what's happened to him. He's a shell of his former self now, but he's not wrong either. And neither one of you guys are wrong, to be honest. Michael Lorenzen would not have been worth what the Diamondbacks had to give up, because right now that's not really the focus of their issues. The reason why they're losing baseball games right now is due to a lack of offense. And it has, I mean, it's not like you can say, oh, the pitching is perfect, because it's not. It's given up just enough runs for them to lose all of these games. But you could also look at the offense and their ups and downs and how they can't seem to even generate, enough offense in some of these games, but then can get 9 runs in a 10-9 loss or whatever. But Texas Rangers, they remain frightening. They're a scary team. I'm glad that we are not in the American League, because the Rangers are not only going to be tough to deal with playing quite often, but also once those playoffs come around, they're going to have a pretty formidable starting rotation, and honestly, one of the better starting lineups in baseball. So that's scary. But we also have the Padres that look like they're kind of turning it on a little bit. They're not on this power rankings, but
everybody treats the Dodgers the way they should. Everyone treats the Dodgers the way they should treat the Astros. Like, the Astros are really that team. Like, they've just been good, like the best team in baseball over the last 5 years. And like, people always are like, the Dodgers.
You know why they don't, right?
Well, it's not the Dodgers. It's not LA.
It's the cheating scandal. It is.
That's true. That is a good point.
I mean,
but like,
nothing.
I don't know if I agree with the narrative that like people are hating on or like not respecting the Astros.
No, I don't think people are not respecting them.
I'm tired of hearing Astros chatter in the
But the Astros
discourse.
deserve it. Like, they win. They turn players into great players. Like, Verlander had one of the best pitching seasons of recent memory with them.
He's meaning like respect, though, like the respect for the franchise, right?
Like everyone treats the Dodgers like we always talk about the Dodgers, like, oh, guys are going to go there, and of course they're going to be good, and of course they're going to win the division, and like all this stuff. Like, the Astros do the same shit at a higher rate as of late.
Well, they have more success
really
as a team. They have more championships.
Yeah, they win in the playoffs. They don't choke. Yeah. They run the American League, and they have for the last few years. And everyone always talks about other teams, because everyone talks about it's been the Rays all year, and last year it was the Yankees, and like. It's the Astros. It's always the Astros.
Getting Verlander does. Yeah, the
so
Astros
crazy.
are. Yeah, they're a really good baseball team.
Well, and the Padres, again, another team that tries to keep up also with the Dodgers and trying to, supersede them here in the National League West. They look very good, and then they don't look very good at times. So hopefully the Diamondbacks catch them on one of those, not looking so great periods of time this year, because I feel like that is what we need at this point. The Diamondbacks need a win, but I feel like the more encouraging thing would be a win over an opponent like the Padres that just kind of makes you feel like not only you're good, but that you could beat anybody in baseball. The Padres by no means are the best, are one of the best teams in baseball, but they're just the team that feels like it. You look at the roster, you look at who you're pitching or you're hitting against, and it just feels like an all-star team over there that, that this would feel like a very, very good win for these guys.
I mean, that's what I was talking about, or we were talking about the other day on the show, about how, like, you look at this lineup and it's not intimidating at all.
Not at all.
Like, that doesn't have anything to do with really their performance, because you look at the Padres, who obviously have been performing recently. They have, I'm pretty sure they have a positive run differential.
The Padres have a very positive.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Isn't it like 70-something?
56, I think.
Okay, yeah. But like, I forgot what I was going to say. I forgot what the point was.
No, you were just saying the Padres have a formidable lineup.
Oh
versus
yeah,
the
like even
Diamondbacks
if they're not
lineup.
performing, like you still look at that lineup and it's like that's a
murderer's
scary
row.
lineup.
Yeah, for
regardless of what they're actually doing. And the Diamondbacks don't have that. Even if they're playing well, like the Padres are a team you always got to take seriously, and I think a win over always means something, even if they're not playing well.
That's a great point.
The Padres, according to Fangraphs, have double the playoff chance that the Diamondbacks do, which is pretty crazy, right?
Since they have a worse record.
Yeah, it makes sense, right? No, I mean they predict that the Padres the rest of the season are gonna have a .574 win percentage, which I guess gets them to 82 wins at the end of the year. That's what they're projected for. The Diamondbacks are projected to win 81 games. So they basically view the Padres more favorably than the Diamondbacks, even though the Diamondbacks are a couple games ahead in this.
Padres are playing better right now than the Diamondbacks, and they have a lot of games left against the Diamondbacks. So I wouldn't be surprised how that factors in.
Yeah,
they do. Padres come here, and then the Diamondbacks go on the road to San Diego. So
they did well, and last time they were in San Diego.
That's right. That's right. And it's a great place to take a road trip, by the way. Great trip. Great road trip spot.
Is it a weekend series when they go? Do you know?
I don't know off the top of my head, but it might be.
To San Diego? Yeah, it's next Thursday through Sunday.
All right. There you go. Just thinking about it. You should be thinking about it too. And if you do go on that road trip, make sure to stop by Circle K for the best coffee, beer, and snack selection.
I know where the Circle K's are.
He does. And he waited very patiently to see himself on the gas pump and didn't see himself. But you might see him. You might see any of us on the gas pumps over at Circle K, except Jesse, because he didn't do the video for some reason. He doesn't love.
No, I didn't.
He doesn't love being in the public like that. But you can stock up at Circle K on all your favorites, including Polar Pops, which stay cold longer. You can buy Powerades 4 for $5 and also get entered into an opportunity to now fight both Shawn and Damon for a Ford Big Ben Bronco SUV. They also have buy 2 get 1 free Monster Energy drinks and buy 2 get 1 free Beatbox hard tea. So make sure you're not missing out on all this great stuff. Text PHNX to 31310 to join their SMS subscriber club and get a buy 1 get 1 free offer on 32-ounce Polar Pops. You can do that right now. Head to circlek.com/store-locator to find Circle K's near you. And of course, while you're there, check out the official craft beer of the Arizona Diamondbacks. That's our friends from Four Peaks. They have a wide variety of beers for you to enjoy. I am finishing up my 4th beer from last night just because I did bite off a little more than I can chew. But I do love the specialty beers that you can get at the Four Peaks A Street Pub. So make sure to not miss out on all of that. Check out their whole merch section. They have some wonderful stuff, and including these specialty beers over there. You can also hop over to the Four Peaks Draft Room. Join us for our takeover event this Saturday. We will be meeting up there. So whether you have a takeover ticket or if you just want to stop by to say hi, meet us on the suite level. We will be down there before the game. You can check out the events page in our show notes to find dates and tickets for our future takeover events. And of course, you can check out Four Peaks event calendar at fourpeaks.com/events to stay up to date on everything Four Peaks. Check out at Four Peaks Brewer at Four Peaks Pub to keep up with the latest. Arizona's hometown brewery. Must be 21 years or older to enjoy Four Peaks, and please drink responsibly. Speaking of that series coming up with the San Diego Padres this weekend here at Chase Field, let's take a look at the probables, which have not been confirmed yet because we still don't know if the Arizona Diamondbacks are going to start Slade Cecconi against Blake Snell on Friday. That still remains to be open. They could move everybody up, which means Ryan Nelson would start essentially in game 1 and then Zac Gallen in game 2.
I mean, they could start Zac Gallen in game 1, right?
At this point?
Because he last pitched on Sunday, so he would be on 4 days rest. The Diamondbacks, because they had Monday off and they also have today off, they have a lot of options with what they can do this weekend. As you said, the Diamondbacks have not announced their starters for the weekend, so we're just kind of taking a stab at it. But if you just go off of the way that things line up, Slade Cecconi, if he's going to pitch, you'd think he would get the first game in the series just because he hasn't pitched since last Wednesday as it is. I guess maybe they can get him some work on the side and have him pitch a different day if they wanted to. But guessing Cecconi Friday, and then Ryan Nelson pitched last Saturday, so he would line up for this Saturday. And then Gallen pitched this past Sunday, so he would line up for that Sunday game against Seth Lugo.
But like Nicholas says, we need Gallen on Saturday. A, because it's a takeover. B,
True.
Because
Dick
it's
milk.
Dick Milk.
It's Dick Milk Day.
It's Dick Milk Day.
Dick Milk needs to happen on Saturday. Probably won't, but we do know that we get to summit Dick Mountain on Saturday at the takeover event. So Of course, it's going to be a nightmare for Jesse. I know that much. He is going to hate it that night. But another thing, speaking of things I hate, is our All-City division now because, of course, the Arizona Diamondbacks have dropped 2 games back to the Chicago Cubs. And I hate this. I hate looking at this. I hate the jokes we made early on in the season about the lead we had. I hate all the good times we used to have. We don't have those good times anymore. Now it's just us looking up at the Cubs guys.
Yeah.
Cody with his beer bat makes me sick. I'm so jealous right now. He's been having the best time ever. Yeah, exactly. Not only did I get my beer bat confiscated, maybe that's the key to the Diamondbacks losing streak.
We need a beer bat?
We need a fucking beer bat because mine got taken by TSA.
Contact the CHGO people.
I don't think Cody's going to help me out on that one. I don't feel like he wants us to do well. Am I wrong there?
Aren't you the reason the Cubs are performing as well as they are, though?
They do have a very good record since visiting Wrigley Field, yes. Yeah. I can't explain that because I go to Chase Field all the time. Yeah, did I steal our mojo and give it to the Cubs? I don't know.
You did.
Here's another sad thing. We do have the wild card standings, and we did have a pretty graphic for that, but the Diamondbacks have dropped so far back that we just need to now show you a screenshot of it because
there's only 2 teams ahead of them.
Yeah, but there's only 5 teams on the graphic.
There's only 5 teams on the graphic, Jesse.
Maybe it should have been a bigger graphic from the beginning.
That's a direct attack on the production department.
Maybe I thought that they weren't going to lose 23 of their last 30
None
games,
of us
Jesse.
thought they were going to lose that many
your
games,
fault
Jacob.
for thinking.
None of us. Oh, my God. Oh, this is the terrible, terrible time of the year. But again, Diamondbacks, only 2.5 games out. Do they deserve to be? Absolutely not. Are they? Yes. Like, they don't deserve to be 2.5 games out, but they are. And that's the fact of the matter. And every single day, these guys can get up and know that they have not squandered the lead so much so that they are not playing meaningful games in August and September. They might not play meaningful games in September if this keeps up for too much longer. But like you said, Jesse, they definitely are. They're in control of their own destiny with the number of games they have against not only division opponents, but teams ahead of them in the wild card.
Yeah, they're right there. Somehow, some way, the below 500 Diamondbacks are right there.
He doesn't believe it.
Have you
hear that in his voice?
Have you seen by any chance they cloned Tyrone on Netflix?
No, I want to see it. It looks incredible.
Essentially, they clone people, and there's like the same person in different parts of the country because they've been cloned.
Sure,
they don't know about each other.
Yeah,
I like to think there is that of us at all of the other NL wild card teams being like, our team does not deserve to be here. How are we still here? And they're having the exact same conversation
all at the same time.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Yeah, that they could, because a lot of us don't deserve to be here, but we are, and we'll make the end of the season fun. If at least things can stay this close, Diamondbacks will have an opportunity to make a step at the playoffs, and who knows what happens. Remember what the Phillies did to us last year. They made us all believe that sneaking into the final wild card spot is enough to get you to the World Series, and that's how
and
things
look at where
work
they
around
are
here.
now. Like, it's almost like somebody here was saying, screaming from the rooftops, that the Phillies were going to be good this year. And I was told that I was wrong by a certain person producing the show. And look where we are now.
I was wondering. I'm like,
wow.
who are you throwing shade at
who
right
would
now?
Even,
Jacob.
yeah. Well, Jacob deserves to have shade thrown at him.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say that at least the Diamondbacks still have a chance, right? And that's the one thing that no matter how bad things were yesterday and the day before, they still have a chance. I don't really feel like it's a very good one, but I mean, they are absolutely in control of that. And if they can kind of get your shit together, get it all together, put it in a bag, take it somewhere. I don't know where, but just take it somewhere, like a shit store, and sell it. I don't know. Just get your shit together, pack it all up, and get your shit together. But thank you.
You're selling shit at the shit store. You're not buying shit at the shit store.
No. See, because the shit store has to sell shit, but they also have to take in.
So it's like a Goodwill
it's an importing, exporting kind of deal.
Okay,
yeah.
like a pawn shop.
Exactly. Yeah, they have to get shit to sell the shit.
Shop.
Yeah, so that's where you can take your shit to sell it. But shit I don't sell is this awesome shit in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
It's these awesome Foco bobbleheads, because these are little collectible works of art. They're all limited edition. They're all amazing. And of course, you can get them at Foco because they are the leading manufacturer of sports and entertainment merchandise with a product line that includes apparel, accessories, toys, collectibles, novelty items, and more. The biggest thing, it's all the baseball stuff they got. These, again, blows people's minds when they find out that these are numbered and limited to as small
Yeah,
as
I
a batch
just
of like
learned that.
25.
Yeah, I just learned that the other day on the show.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that.
When you go to their
Very
website,
cool.
they'll tell you how many they made.
I
of
instantly wanted it more. I'm not gonna lie to you.
them. Yes, because
Because it's
there's
like
not
other people don't have
25,000 of
Like,
them.
you
There's
don't
only
have
50.
one.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, not only can you get these wonderful limited edition bobbleheads, you can also get your Aloha shirt, straw hats, polos, bags, everything you need for baseball season. So Foco always has our back for Arizona sports. They have yours too. Make sure to check out the best gear around by visiting foco.com and using code PHNX for all non-presale items. And you can use that code PHNX to get 10% off. So do so today. And let's remember that no matter what, the one way to get over losses, losing streaks, losing 8 games in a row is with OG's Brands gummies. If you're stuck on what kind of OGs to get, OG's takes the guesswork out of it for you, because now they have their mixed bags of fruits and creams. And whether you try the fruits with red apple, watermelon, peach, or the creams with blackberries and cream, orange creamsicle, peaches and creams, you will find a delicious flavor that you enjoy. Maybe you enjoy the mixed bag. Maybe you find one particular that becomes your favorite. Orange creamsicle is that for me. You guys find out what they have to offer, including their Sunny Sativas and their Mellow Indica blends, which allow you to customize your OG's experience based on the mood or the number of games that your team might be behind in the wild card, or how many losses they've had recently. We highly recommend you check out OG's online at ogsbrands.com or on Instagram at OG's Brands. You can find their products at your local dispensary. Must be 21 years or older to purchase, and enjoy responsibly. That's all I have. The Arizona Diamondbacks are off today, so of course we will try to figure out something. We'll watch the other teams play baseball and be sad about watching some of those. Probably maybe gain a game on the Diamondbacks. We don't know, but you can make sure to join us again for that takeover this Saturday. In the meantime, you can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Cap_Kman with a K. Shawn is at Shawn_DePaz. Jesse is at Jesse N. Friedman. The maniac behind the Mac today is Fodge. He's at Jacob_Franklin4. I'll never forget that he is the 4th best Jacob Franklin. And of course, we won't leave Damon out. We are Damon's dogs. You can follow Damon even though he's not here today. He's off at Damon Dog, DAWG there at the end. I'm giving him a shout out. Of course,
you're plugging his Twitter handle and he's not even here.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy, right?
He's one of the dogs.
Wow.
We are Damon's dogs, and so we are loyal. See,
do you plug my Twitter handle when I'm not here?
I think he does.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. See, I'm a
Derek,
good.
you're
I'm a good teammate.
benevolent.
I
with your
am. I'm
Twitter
I'm a
plugs.
very
My
kind mayor. What
gosh.
can I say? But
Lindsay, what's your Twitter?
what's your Twitter, Lindsay?
Lindsay
Lindsay
Smith
at
AZ.
Lindsay Smith
Emma, what's
AZ.
your Twitter?
Emma Ann Clark. Follow her.
ANN, right? Yeah.
Because they're
No
all
E.
awesome. I mean, honestly,
Are we
probably
really
more awesome
going to
than me.
do the rounds around the
I mean,
entire
I'll go check.
office?
What's your name?
Espo is at
Espo.
At Shane
Shane-
D.
at Shane
At
D.
Anthony underscore
Leah,
Cotry.
Why
Leah
not?
Merrill.
At Leah Merrill.
This
At
is what
Bo
we're doing.
Brock. Who else is in the office? At Michaela E. Perkins.
None of those matter. The one that
At
matters
Max
is at
David Simpson.
PHN D-backs. At PHNX D-backs. That's the one we want you to follow. Also, all roads lead to at PHNX sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We appreciate you guys for showing up today. We thank you for your time. Groundhog Mama says post-game tomorrow. Absolutely. Join us back here tomorrow for our post-game show after their Friday game 1 against the San Diego Padres. But like I said, in the meantime, we appreciate you guys showing up. We thank you for your time. And remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it is so much more fun when your team appears in the power rankings.